Odyssey. One man came home after 20 years away, and the first thing he did was kill every single person in his house. That's not a movie plot, that's the actual ending on one of the oldest stories ever written. It's called the Odyssey, and it's been read for almost 3,000 years, and honestly, it's wilder than most things on Netflix. The story follows a great king named Odysseus. Smart, clever, always thinking 3 steps ahead, he'd just helped win the Trojan War, using one of the most famous tricks in history, the wooden horse. Sneak soldiers inside a giant fake gift, wait for the enemy to bring it inside their own walls, then attack from within. 10 years of war ended by one ridiculous idea that actually worked. So the war is over. Odysseus just wants to go home to his wife and son. Should be simple, right? It should have taken a few weeks by ship. It took 10 more years. Here's why. On the way home, Odysseus and his crew land on an island and get trapped in a cave by a giant one-eyed monster called a Cyclops, who starts eating his men 2 at a time for dinner. Odysseus' plan to escape: get the giant drunk, blind his one eye with a sharpened wood stake while he sleeps, then sneak out the cave hidden under the bellies of sheep so the blinded giant can only feel wool, not men, as they pass by. It worked, but there's a twist that changes everything. As they're escaping, Odysseus can't resist showing off. He shouts his real name back at the monster. Big mistake. The Cyclops happens to be the son of Poseidon, god of the sea, and now the actual god of the ocean personally wants Odysseus dead for the rest of his journey home across the ocean. That one bragging moment turns a simple trip home into a 10-year curse. Next stop, an island ruled by the god of wind, who actually helps Odysseus out, gifting him a bag containing all dangerous winds trapped inside, so his ship can sail home safely with just a gentle breeze. They get so close to home, they can literally see the coastline of their own country. And then, Odysseus' own crew, thinking the bag is full of treasure he's hiding from them, opens it while he sleeps. Every trapped wind bursts out at once and blows the entire ship straight back to where they started. One moment of curiosity undoes the whole journey. Then, things get stranger. A witch named Circe turns half his crew into actual pigs. A group of monsters called sirens sing so beautifully that sailors steer their ships straight into rocks just to get closer, so Odysseus has his crew plug their ears with wax and ties himself to the ship's mast so he can hear the song without being able to jump overboard. He sails between a 6-headed monster that eats sailors and giant whirlpool that swallows entire ships, and less men either way, no matter which side of straight he picks. He visits the underworld and actually talks to the ghosts of dead soldiers from the war he just fought. He gets stuck on a goddess's island for 7 years, unable to leave. 10 years, one disaster after another. Every single one of his men eventually dies along the way. Odysseus is the only one who makes it home, alone. And here's the part that makes the ending hit so hard. While he was gone for 20 years total, over 100 men had moved into his house back home, eating his food, drinking his wine, and trying to convince his wife, Penelope, that Odysseus was dead so one of them could marry her and take his kingdom. Penelope, incredibly clever herself, kept stalling them for years. She told them she'd choose a husband once she finished weaving a burial shroud, then secretly unrevealed it every night so it would never actually get finished. When Odysseus finally returns home, he doesn't walk in through the front door announcing himself. He discusses himself as a beggar first, just to see exactly what's been happening in his own house. What he finds makes him furious, so he sets a trap. Penelope announces a contest. Whoever can string Odysseus' old hunting bow and shoot an arrow through a row of 12 axe handles get to marry her. Every single suitor tries. Every single one fails. The bow is too strong for any of them to be even bent. Then, the discussed beggar asks for a turn. They laugh at him. He strings the bow instantly, like it's nothing, fires the arrow clean through all 12 axe handles. Then he turns to the bow and the suitors instead. And with his son locking the doors so nobody can escape, Odysseus kills every single one of them. So what actually makes this 3,000-year-old story still worth telling today? It's not really about monsters or gods. It's not about how one small moment of pride, one shouted name to be blinded monster can cost you 10 years of your life. It's about how patience and cleverness can outlast brute force, both for Odysseus fighting his way home and for Penelope holding her home together while he was gone. And that's how one brag and shout to an angry Cyclops turned a few weeks' trip into a 10-year Odyssey. A word that still means exactly that, an impossibly long difficult journey 3,000 years later.